Wednesday, another episode of Groovy Tuesday, episode 45, back to basics with the beautiful Gridwork, and we're on part 7. So I'll just wait for a few of you to pop up in the chat on the side, and yeah, just wait for that. Jilly is in the room with you. She's just making a quick cup of tea. So I'm sure I'll get the all clear very shortly, that the sound is all okay. I can see the numbers of viewers are increasing. There we go. Who's first this morning? Good morning, Jan Jackson. How are you, Jan? I hope everyone's good today. Nearly late. All of a sudden, I sort of got carried away. I was sort of doing other stuff. There we go. Sound is great. Thank you, Jilly. There we go. Jilly is in the room with you today. So if you have any questions, here you will come. Look at all these. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Sheila, Lynn, Lorraine. Good morning, everybody. Catherine. Oh, dear. This week seems to have been a long time since we were last here. You know, sometimes how it goes really quick and it feels as if I was only here yesterday. This week, it seems to be a bigger gap. I don't know why. Very strange. The lovely Jane Telford. Good morning, Jane. Jean, Stephanie. Here you all come. Good work. It's good to have your company. I don't know why I'm rubbing my hands. I'm not cold. It's quite warm down here today. I've just popped outside and it's quite mild. The sun's shining brightly. Yeah, it's not as cold as what I was expecting it to be. I think we're getting some warm weather over the next couple of days down south. So hopefully that's good for the Easter break. So another Groovy Tuesday. How are you all getting on? Are you all having a go with the Gridwork? It's great to see on Groovy Worldwide all the different things that you've been coming up with. The design team are in there, and it's great to see. If you've got any questions, then just ask away. The design team are there, other fellow members are there. Try this, try that. You know what I mean? It's all about, if you don't ask, you don't get, so to speak. And it's such a beautiful environment to be in. Like-minded crafters, whether it be Groovy Worldwide or Clarity Worldwide, there's always someone there to help. So yes, I think it's going to be a good day today, or a good, as Barb would say with the gnomes. I'm going to get the check calls today, I think. It's not hysteria. It's just the sun is shining and it's nice. I think the sun shining sort of makes a difference to the mood. It definitely does with me anyway. So should we have a little bit of a recap whilst everybody's coming in? Just have a look at what we've been doing these past 7 weeks. When you say it like that, 7 weeks, it seems like such a long time, but I think how we've progressed and maybe gained some confidence in what we're doing. And it really does, having these tutorials, or just me waffling on, that you can go back to and watch again and again and again. So you think, oh, what did he say? Or how do I do that? You can just go back and watch it at your own pace and your own time as well. So let's have a look at what we've been looking at. So let's start off. So we've been looking at the Elizabeth lace duet grid that designed by the lovely Josie Davidson. And it's a very beautiful but simplistic design. Okay, so there's not much white work to do or embossing, and then there's not much perforating. And as we've shown over the last few weeks, that you can do the embossing on its own, you can do the perforating on its own, or combined together, we can create that beautiful lace work. And just because these are duet grids, don't think, oh, I need to be able to get into the snipping and everything else, because you don't have to if you don't want to. I'm just going to sneeze. I'm just going to turn you off for 1 minute. Excuse me, that came out of nowhere. But I just caught, hopefully you can hear me again. I think I've pressed the right button. So if you can't, Julia will be going, we can't hear you, we can't hear you. But I'm sure you can. Okay, so yes, as I was saying, we was looking at that and I had a little piece of artwork just to show that Josie created. We've got the embossing. We've got the embossing with a little bit of perforating. We've got it with all the perforating, and then we have it with all of it with some picot cutting. So it really does change the look of it. Okay, and what we've done over the past few weeks is that we created this piece. Sound is back on. Thank you, Ginny. So this is what we created. And when you look at the plate itself, you'll notice that you've got these double lines. And these were an idea that Barbara introduced because she thought that if you weren't at that picot cutting stage, then you can still create a beautiful frame, but without doing the picot cutting. And on this particular one, we just did a little bit of picot cutting just to bring out the design. Okay, so this is where we've been heading and this is where we've reached. Now, in comparison, if I bring a piece of artwork that Josie's created, just to show the difference between the two. So this one has the frame around the outside, and then this one, using the guide that comes with all of the Duet plates, the picot cutting has been done around the outside. And then this gives you that lacy frame. Now, if you wanted to, you could picot cut on the inner part, and then you really would have what I call a floppy frame. So you still have choices throughout when you're coming up with your actual design. Then last week we had a look at some colouring, and we took the beautiful sunflower plate that Jim designed, this one here, with after all sort of deductions and everything else, all the profits are then donated to the Red Cross. So we have it in Groovi, and we also have it in stamp as well. And Barb said yesterday in the shack that many of you at home have been making cards and sending them in with a little bit of a cash donation. And when Barbara and Ginny were opening up all the cards on Saturday, there was £600 that we will then send on to the Red Cross. Now, we've already sent on £4,000 as a result of people at home purchasing the stamp and the Groovi. So that's already gone. And I reckon probably at the end of this month, we'll be sending another donation based on, because you're still coming in for the beautiful designs. And yesterday during the Shack with Barb was talking about how Barbara and Julie popped along to Lewis on Saturday, and they bumped into a lady or a group of people that were showing their support for what was going on for Ukraine. And they've come to an arrangement that if you send in any blank cards, so using the beautiful designs, I mean, you could use any design, that we will then bag them up, put envelopes with them if you haven't got the envelopes, and we will give them to the lovely people in Lewis, who will then sell them, and then those proceeds will then be donated to the Ukraine as well. So, and I know Julie said yesterday there was even more cards coming in. So if you want the details, Julie will pop the address up of where to send them in the chat. But if you just go to our website, it's claritystamp.com, which is just there. And you'll be able to find the address details on there as well. So this is where we were going with last week. I just wanted to just have a bit of a recap on that. And what we did was we created this little topper that's going to sit within our frame. Okay. And on the colouring, which we did on the back, I showed a couple of different techniques using the Perga colour pens. And I just chose 3 different colours. And I showed how you could use a dry water brush to apply the colour, or direct onto the parchment itself. And in the end, I've decided that to make it more vibrant, I would go with the pens direct. So I did finish it off as I promised I would do last week. And oops, hang on. There we go. And so I thought today what we'll do, we'll just finish it off, and I just want to give you one more little tips and tricks for a couple of little finishing tricks to it. Okay, so that's my little topper that I've created, and I've used that beautiful rainbow paper, and I just thought that behind the background using the blues and the greens. So this comes from the Pastel Rainbow collection, and I thought that would work really nicely if we pop that onto there, the little topper onto there, and that's it, job done. Now, what I was thinking is that when I have a look at this beautiful panel we've created, it sort of falls into the background because it's quite a soft colour palette on the back. Now, if I take, I wonder whether I've got more. Where's my designer papers? Typical. I know, I've got some behind me. Let me just grab some Northern Lights, for example, which is a more sort of darker in colour tone. So if I grab some Northern Lights paper and I pop that on top, see how it stands out more. The darker the background, the more prominent the white will be. Okay, so you have choices. I've gone for the rainbow, but any of our designer papers will work beautifully. Now, whether you go with the softer tone or you go with a more vibrant background, okay, choices. It's entirely up to you. So this is the Northern Lights, the original designer. I mean, look at that one. That'd be beautiful, wouldn't it? There you go, that one. So I could just spend all day just going through. See, that's nice. I like that. Just go, oh, look at that. See, depending on where you position it on the paper. Okay, so I've taken a piece of the rainbow paper because that's what I had to hand when I was working with this. And that's going to sit underneath. But I want the frame to stand out a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm working on the back, and I'm going to take the blue Pergoline pen. And as we spoke about last week, it has two different nibs. It's got a fine point nib, and then it has more of a bullet nib. Now, depending on how steady your hand is, we want to fill in those two white lines. Okay, so back in the day, I would have felt confident just taking the pen and just going down. Okay, but if you take the Pergamano ruler and you pop the ruler, I need my glasses for this. See, old age comes to us all. It's coming to me very quickly. It feels like of late. So I'm going to pop the edge. I wonder if I come in on this one. This is where I really faff it up now. See if we can get it in on, yes, look at that. So I'm going to pop the edge of the ruler on the white line, and I'm going to take the fine nib and I'm just going to go in between the two. Okay, I'm going to take a piece of kitchen towel, which I have here, and just wipe the edge of the ruler. I mean, just in case. I mean, there's nothing there, but just in case. I'm going to turn it round, and we'll come in again on that white line. And then, so I feel a lot more confident doing it this way than I would, and it's quicker as well. I mean, I'm not saying it's a rush, but, and what this is going to do, this is just going to give the outer frame a little lift from the backing paper. I'm just going to bring my head in. Yeah, that's right. I'm not on that one, am I? On the other camera. And we're just going to go in. There we go. Last one. Give it a quick wipe. And the final frame. See, this is where the perga colours. I mean, you could do this with a pencil as well, but because I used pens, I thought I'd continue with my pens. So let's go back on the overhead. Bring in my paper. And can you see now how it just makes it pop a little bit? Now, I don't need to worry about that part there because I'm going to put my little topper on top. And I'm just looking. Why does everything... Are you the same at home? You're looking for something on your desk and it's just disappeared. And what am I looking for? I'm looking for my perga glue. Come on, Mr. Perga glue. Ah, there you are. It was hiding. It didn't want to play. Okay. So we're going to use two different types of adhesion. We're going to use the perga glue, and I'm also going to be using the brads. Now, tomorrow in the Pergamano show on the craft store, Barb's going to be using the brads as well to show how you can attach. So I'm going to go very quickly on this one. I'm going to take a couple of, excuse me. Let me bring in my super foam underneath. And I'm going to go a couple of white brads, I think. 4 of those. I'm going to position my topper onto my piece of artwork, backing paper. And I can now position that where I want it to be. And I'm just going to go in the corner. I'm using my 1 needle bold. Pop that one in there. Now don't lift it up, keep it in place. Okay, and then I'm going to go in the opposite corner. So it's entirely up to you how many brads you wish to use, but for balance, I'm going to go with 4 because I've got 4 corners. And goes there, and that one goes in that corner. Okay, so then gently release it from your foam. And what you want to do is now work on a hard surface. And then we're going to open up the back of the brads. Let's just open them up fully. Okay. Nice and easy. Just like that. Now you can see it sort of, they hang over, don't they? So my little tip is if you get one like that and then you bend the other one round, so you're bringing it at a right angle. So as long as you've got one in place, okay, and then that brings it in on the inside. And that one there. And that one there. Okay, so that's our little topper that's going to go on there. So now what I'm going to do, I've got choices. For the paper, I'm just going to take our tape runners, which will be back in stock very soon. Everything's being delayed. And that, I've taken a white card blank and just trimmed that down. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, so I've got choices. I can go with the perga glue, and because I'm going to cover it up, I don't have to worry about it. So I could use the tape runner. It's entirely up to you what you have in your stash. Okay, so that is going to go on there, and then I'm going to use the perga glue just on the back. Okay, make sure it's the right way up, and then that is going to sit just inside my panel. There we go. So there we have our finished piece of artwork. Let's take these glasses off. See? So there we go. Job done. One card that I can send to somebody, or if this is the first time, then what you can do, you may want to frame it. I mean, it'd make a beautiful picture, wouldn't it? So you have choices. So what's Jane? Jane uses the flat end of a blending tool to press them down after she's opened them, and they go even flatter than with your fingers. Oh, that's a good tip, Jane. Really, really good. Yeah, I suppose because our fingers are squidgy, aren't they? So there's only so much we can sort of pressure apart. Really good idea. Thank you for that, Jane. I'll have to try and remember that for next time. So that's our piece of artwork. So we've got project completion. And it'll be nice to see if whether you've assembled it already or how you've assembled it. You may have done it in a different method. I mean, back in the day, the traditional method of attaching parchment to a card was stitching it. That would be another really nice option to do. And Josie's often done it with the grids, where if you look at, for example, the little perforations in the corner up here, let's have a look on the blue bit, it might be a bit better. Yeah, see where we've got the perforations just here? What you could do is you can perforate through the paper as well, and you can use invisible thread to attach it. So choices, choices, choices. Okay. So now what I thought we'd do, we're going to stick with the Queen Elizabeth, and you can use any of the grids that you may already have in your collection. My throat's going a bit dry this morning. But I thought we'd make a bookmark. Okay, so it's not just about creating a frame. You can create strips, you can create borders, and I thought this would be a perfect design to do a little bookmark. Okay, so for that, I did mention it last week. If you take an A5 piece of parchment, so let's do it this way. So that's it, landscape. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to cut a 2-inch strip. Okay, because that's what we need to get started. So what we'll do, we'll get all the bits together we're going to need for this particular project. So we need a 2-inch strip of parchment. We are going to use our Queen Elizabeth, or whichever, if it's narrower, the better. Okay, so we're going to need that. We are going to need a platemate. So I'm going to go, oh, there's the platemate just there. So I'm going to go with the platemate for grids. Let me zoom out a little bit now, and I can come back in a minute. So we've got all the bits and pieces. So we want that, we want that, we want that. We want our number 1 and number 2 tool. We are going to need a tumble dry sheet, which is over here. Nice new one. And we're going to need our Groovi guard for sure. We're going to need some Groovi tabs. Okay, Groovi tabs. What else are we going to need? And I think at this point in time, that's all we're going to need. Okay. I need to get these wheels on this chair. It's not like dragging behind me. I know one of these days I'm going to end up on the floor. Okay. So just to recap, platemate, Queen Elizabeth, tumble dry sheet, Groovi guard, Groovi tabs, a piece of parchment 2 inches wide and the length of an A5 piece, and your number 1 and your number 2 tool. Okay. Who's going to give this a go? Making a bookmark. It's going to be really nice. I had a little bit of a practice this morning just to work out the sequence so that I didn't just go live and think, maybe I shouldn't have done that. So I had a bit of a practice and I learned something as well, which I will share with you. So as Barb says, it's good being the driver on the bus because you know where we're heading and you can take any detours or watch out for the potholes. And I found a pothole when I was practicing this one this morning. So we're going to avoid that pothole when we come to work with our design. Okay. Ah, I can't believe it's 25 past already. Julie says, oh, you waffle and waffle. I said, I know, I'm trying not to. It's quite, when you're just talking to yourself, basically. I know there's obviously all you lovely people at home. You're listening and you're watching and you're commenting. See, Glynis is in the room up there and Hazel Edwards was there. And I don't have anyone talking to me. Not audibly anyway. So it's, yeah, it's very strange. Very, very strange. But you know what? I talk to myself anyway because I get the best answers. Oh, and the other thing we're going to need are the bookmark sleeves. The Pergamano bookmark sleeves. And I think you get 6 in a pack. And you also get a traditional pattern in there as well. So, so these are really good. If you're looking for, maybe you want to make a bookmark for Ukraine. Because I think, let's have a look, I think you could definitely use, where's it gone? Oh yeah, this would be lovely. Sorry, I digress, I know. Look, so you've got your 2-inch strip, so you could do like a waterfall of the little baby sunflower. Make Heart Not War will fit in there perfectly. Yeah. Ah, okay, it's giving me an idea now. What you could do, I mean, you can put any sentiment in the middle. Obviously, we're working on the back, so let's turn it over so we can. So you can put your Make Heart Not War in the middle. I mean, would it go that way? Just. You could get away with that as well. Okay, that's giving me another idea. See, and then you could do that, and then you could take the border and go either side of it. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? And then it's a gift as well. So if you're looking to donate these to somebody that's going to sell them, then what a beautiful piece of artwork. Yeah, that's a really good idea. If you wanted to do that and you wanted to work out, I mean, you could put the sentiment anywhere, but if you wanted, like me, to get it right in the middle, then what I would suggest you do, sorry, I'm going around the house or something. So if I take a piece of A4 copy paper, which is the same length as the bookmark, if I fold that in half to find the middle, because I don't want to fold my parchment in half to find the middle, you see, and then what I can do, let's just put a line on that so you can see where that middle is. Okay, so what you could do is you line that up, or what I would do, I'd line that up where I thought it was the middle, like so, and then line my parchment up either end, and then that will hopefully be in the middle. Okay, or as Nancy says, just measure out from the art in art. Perfect. That's a good idea. Use the R. Yeah, good idea, Nancy. See, sometimes just watching gives you ideas, doesn't it? That's a really good. I'm learning lots today. So I've had my top tip from Jane regarding the brads, and good idea there from Nancy. So what's Jane saying? The border of the sunflowers could go down the middle and extend it to fit. Absolutely, you could just do a complete border, couldn't you? I thought that'd be nice, like that. So that would be there, and then pop that on either side. Job done. Or you could just do a complete border of sunflowers, or you could do tumbling sunflowers as well. Yeah, that'd be beautiful. See, look, you're all coming up with these ideas. So, of course you didn't offend Nancy. No, it's all good ideas. Sometimes we all think differently, don't we? So some people think, okay, how would I do it? And then go, oh no, just, I mean, another option was take a ruler. But to me, I just think differently. So there's definitely no offense caused there, Nancy. It's all about sharing the ideas, because to me, that makes perfect sense. You look at the R and just go out either side. Yeah, brilliant idea. Or see, I'm not, it's sharing all of our knowledge collectively, whether it be in the chat, whether it be in Groovi Worldwide, Clarity Worldwide. We all, just by making a comment, it can just change the way that you think. You think, oh yeah, I didn't think. It was like going back to dyes and traps of scrap. Who'd have thought that all that scrap on the floor that we would normally throw away, Barb came up with, no, let's use it and make a card. So yeah, brilliant idea. Brilliant idea. Okay, so let's go back to our bookmark. So I digress there. I just thought that the sunflowers would be beautiful as a bookmark. Really good. Okie dokie. So what we're going to do now is we're going to work with the Queen Elizabeth, and we need to be able to, if this is the first time to emboss this side up. Okay, so I'm going to pop that in there. I'm going to take a Groovi tab, and I'm just going to hold. See, there's just a tiny little bit of wiggle. Okay, and I really don't want any wiggle. So we've got that. I've got my piece of parchment, so I'm going to take my tumble dry sheet and I'm going to wipe both sides. Okay, because I'm going to do my embossing first and then my perforating. So wipe both sides with the tumble dry sheet. Your hands will smell nice. Okay. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going with it sort of like a right angle that way. Okay. You may decide if you're left-handed, you want to go that way. It won't make any difference. But for me, because I've got the longer area there, it's just the way that I roll, so to speak. So what we're going to do now is position our parchment so that it's, I wonder if I can come in on this one. Let's have a look. When I hold it down, can you see? There's the edge of the part. I don't want to, I suppose I could. Yes, change of plan. Okay, this is what I'm going to do to make it easier. The outside edge of the parchment is going to be lined up with the outer, with the second line of the double line. Okay, and that hopefully will make sure that we're nice and straight. Okay, yeah, this will work, he says. Okay, Groovi tabs, make sure it's nice, held down nicely. Then I'm going to take my Groovi guard and I'm going to take my number 1 tool, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it this way. So I'm going to not do the outer edge, I'm going to do the inner one, and don't go right to the end of the line, so to speak. And when you get there, sort of lift off. You know how we do white work and we lift off, and what that will give you when I hold this up, you'll see how you've got that softer edge. It's not a solid line. So we're going to do that there, and going to come around the corner, and then we're going to, before we get to, now you have to be careful you don't go all the way to the end. It doesn't matter if you do, but, and then as we come to here, we're going to flick again. So you see how you've got that faint line. Then for guidance, what we're going to do, we're going to emboss this complete row. Now, what you don't want to do is emboss. Let's bring it around this way. You don't want to emboss these two bottom ones. Okay, this was my pothole and it throws my design out completely. So all we're going to do now, we've now gone to the number 2 tool, okay, which has a little ball on the end, and we're going to press into the dots, okay, and this is going to give us our registration. This is going to look really, really nice when we do this, because the beauty of the plates, as we mentioned earlier, you can just do the embossing. You don't even need to do the perforating if you don't want to. Okay, so we're going to go along and just emboss that complete line and that line there. And whilst we're there, let's just do those little dots just for completion. And then to give us some registration across the top area, because obviously this is just a series of dots, I'm sticking with the number 2 tool and I'm just going to trace out some of the lovely little petals. Okay, you can see it's quite quick. We're going to go back in and fill all this in, but this is, you know how we created our frame to start with, where we just put our registration marks in place? This is, we're doing exactly the same, but this time we're just doing it in a straight line. Okay, let's do these ones. I love doing these. There we go. Okay, carefully lift your parchment up. And what we're going to do now is slide it along. No, we're not. We're going to turn it round. I'm turning my plate round. So I've now got the shorter end across the top. And what I'm going to do now is line up this edge. So let me just bring my head in over the top. So the edge of the parchment with the outer. And what you'll see is that this line here slots into that inner line. Before I stick it down, I need to move my Groovi tab. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's right. Groovi tab there. Number 1 tool with, don't worry about it not lining up here, because we're going to sort that in a moment. The first bit is just to get the rest of the outer frame in place. So we're going to go along, complete that line. And remember, when we come down here, I'm going to turn it this way because it's easier. So we're going to come down and then we're going to flick. So we've got that faded line again, just there. Okay, so we've done that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to reposition our bookmark. And we're going to line it up on one of those petals. We line it back up into the slot. This row of dots is lined up as well. Okay. And then what we're going to do is now complete that row. So we swap back over to the number 2. Just make sure you're happy with your positioning, and you've got your guide up here to make sure it's back in the line. So we'll complete this row of dots. Okay. Because really it's the dots, this row and the registration at the top, which is going to allow us then to complete our design once we've finished putting our frame in around the outside. I hope this makes sense. It makes sense to me when I was doing it. And I think it just shows another way of using the beautiful grids, but in a different application. Okay, I'm going to do that one, and let's just do a couple of these, just to give us that grounding. Okay. Nice. So it really doesn't look anything at the moment. If I turn that over, it just looks like a, look, doesn't look like anything, does it? And it's not completed because we need to put the other line in place. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go along here, okay, and we're lining up again the edge of the parchment with the outer edge. Oh, nearly made a boo-boo there. So the edge of the parchment with the outer line, the inner line falls into place. Tape it down. Now this time we're not going to do any of our embossing at this stage. We're just going to complete the frame. Okay, and I'll explain why in a moment. Let's make sure that's in the right position. Yep, I'd say so. Okay. Use our Groovi guard. We're going to go along and then flick. Okay. I'm going to go back over that just to give me a crisper white line. And then we're going to spin it round and complete the rest of the frame. So that gets lined up there, that gets lined up there. Dum, dum, dum. Take your time when doing this because you want to get a really nice frame around your work. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that. Oh, make sure your Groovi tabs are sticking. And then we're going to come across and complete our frame. Okay, so this is what we've got now. So we've got the outer frame, which I think gives it that finishing touch. And then we've started to build on our design. Now, the reason I said no when we was doing this side was to ignore what we was doing here. Because if you notice, if you look at the design underneath, let me just get rid of this Groovi tab for a moment so it doesn't keep sticking. It's not equal to, okay? It's the design underneath will go further in. So this one is closer to the edge. This one's a little bit further, but I'm not worried about that. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to come around on this side. So we've done that bit. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the line above. Okay, because this one is in the same position. We're going to hold our parchment down in place. So what we last time we started on the long side. This side we're starting on the shorter side. So we're lining up those lines just there. Okay. Swap over to the number 2 tool. Don't do the little dotty bits at the bottom. And we're just going to do the straight line. So we're just creating now our registrations. Aren't you glad that you can go, let me come in on this camera. Aren't you glad that you can go back and watch this again? What was he doing? Which way did he turn it? Oh dear, oh dear. Live Facebook. Okay. And then I'll put the little dots in there. And I'm still only doing registrations because if it still goes wrong at this point, I haven't spent the time tracing it all out, have I? Okay. practice. This is what I did first. Let me show you. This is what I did. And then because, see, I put a double line in, which brings it closer together. And then if I turn it over, you can see I did those 2 little extra dots, but it threw my design out. So I've got this in front of me to say, do not go through those little dots. But that took less than 5 minutes to work out where I'd gone wrong. Okay. So give it a go, but we're not wasting time by tracing it all out, he says as he gets carried away. Now we've done that, okay, we can turn our plate round that way, and what we're going to do this time, rather than use the straight line up here as our guide because it is off, we're going to come in and use this as our registration here, okay, because then when I look over here, that is then in line. Does that make sense? I'm sure it does. When you watch it back again and go, right, so this is the registration, not here. So we're going to line up those dots. We're lining up the straight line as well to make sure we're still going the right way. And then we'll just continue that row of dots and covering up those bottom 2 at the bottom. Let's do these ones. I love this little pattern just here. Sad, isn't it? It reminds me of that game we used to play as kids, like Tetris. the little blocks that you had to turn around to get them to build up a wall. Stop waffling. Okay. Yeah, I really like this. Who's just watching and thinking, what is he doing? What is he doing? But you know what? As I say, you can go back and you can watch this. So now I'm happy that I've got my design in the right place. What I'm now going to do is now complete my design. Okay. So we're going to change it up a little bit. Let's complete these little bits here all the way along. And I'm still doing this in the number 2 so that I can do some white work in them. So who's new to Groovi? Have we got any new people that have just found Groovi? That are thinking, oh, what is he doing? Well, I've sort of come in halfway through the film. I don't know where to start. This isn't in the starter kit. Well, you know what? On Create and Craft, the new Create and Craft, during the course of the next 6 months, 7 months, Barbara has put a program together of skills to do with Groovi, Parchment Craft, and the first show on that will be this Thursday on Create and Craft at 11 o'clock and 3 o'clock, using the lovely PTC designs, which is Parchment trading cards from Josie Davidson. And the basis of this month is going to be white work. Okay, white work and how to assemble your card. And the PTCs, Parchment trading cards, Parchment trading coins, are a perfect set of plates for practicing so many different elements. So if you're thinking, right, okay, I'm happy with my tracing out of my design now, but now I want to go that next step further. So maybe I want to learn some white work. So you can tune into createandcraft.com on Thursday at 11 o'clock and 3 o'clock with Barb, and it's the Pergamano show. and she'll be breaking it down. So if you're brand new to Groovi, to parching, or maybe you just want a bit of a recap, a bit of a refresh on what to do, then it's a perfect opportunity because you can tune in. I think Barb's on with the lovely Janice, so it'll be a great show. And it'll be full of tips, tricks, ideas, hints, tips. I mean, I know I'll still learn stuff even by watching. And I've been doing it for a long time because we all do things differently. Just like we were saying earlier, how would you find the middle of the piece of parchment? My obvious thing was take a piece of the same bit, fold it in half, and use that. Whereas Nancy said, just look at the R in the art, because that's the middle, isn't it? Okay. So complete this. Now what you'll notice is that I'm not doing the row of design above because I don't want to do it. So it's giving me the choices now. Okay. See, this looks lovely. Okay, let's turn this over now. Let's put it on the overhead. So that's one half of our design. Okay. And then, yes, there's a little bit of a wider gap than there is at this one. But I can get creative and just extend the design, couldn't I? Really, really nice. So it's all about having some choices. Now, what I should have done was I should have brought some artwork in that the design team has created using Josie's PTCs. I mean, there's loads of different designs because Josie does a PTC swap, Parchment trading card swap, every month on Groovi Worldwide. And I'm just one. There we go. Josie's commented. The PTCs measure 3.5 inches by 2.5 inches, and the coins measure 3. Is it 3.5, Josie? I think it might be 3. I think might be wrong. And the coins measure. And she's going to organise a regular Groovi PT swap every month so that anyone interested, look out for the post from Josie in Groovi Worldwide about the May swap at the end of this month. Perfect. The coins will work perfectly as a topper. I'm just wondering whether Julie would be able to pop in some artwork that is probably sitting on my office floor because I've been going through it all. And I can show you some sneaky samples before the end. Jenny's probably going, oh, why didn't you take it in? And I'm going to text her just in case she's fallen asleep listening to my voice. So it is 3.5 by 2.5. Thank you, Jilly. And I think Jilly's just going to pop some artwork in. I was wrong. I was wrong. What did I Google earlier then? What did I find? Yeah, 2.5. See, I knew what it was, but for some reason I'd cut 1/2 inch off. There you go. What's 1/2 inch amongst friends? So while I carry on with this, we're just going to go on, and now we're completing the other side. And that's the plates are absolutely beautiful because they're small. They can be used as toppers. You can use them as parchment trading cards, parchment trading coins. I can hear the door opening. Thank you, Miss Jilly. You're a superstar. See, I should have brought them in with me earlier. Okay, let me finish this row off so I don't get distracted. And then I'll show you what the plates are all about. Okay, it's not going to take me long to do this, is it? You know what? Yeah, plenty of time. It's only 10:02. Prepared, was I? Not. Normally I have the stuff with me, don't I? To give you a sneaky peek of what's coming up. Hey ho. Right, okay. So let's carry on with this. It doesn't take long. Once you've done your registration, that's probably the bit that takes the longest. Just to get your registration areas in, getting the frame around the outside. That's for me is the longest part, and then in filling, just flows, doesn't it? Okay, so we've done that. Then we're going to turn it round. So it's all about letting the artwork come to you. Oh, see, that just fits perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. He says, put that on there. Another little groovy tab there. Groovy guard. So once we've done this, I think next week what we're going to do is we're going to go in, if we want to, we can perforate in between the design, just like we did before. But I think if we get the embossing and the actual design done first, we can then decide, can't we, if we want to just go with it, how it is. Now, there is enough room at the top if you wanted to put that additional row in, but I just wanted to show the flexibility of the design. And at the end of the day, it doesn't take too long once you get into it. Okay, we're almost there. It was as if I timed this perfectly. Not. Okay, let's have a look. Dum, dum, dum. Let's move this out of the way. There we go. We have our design. Isn't that lovely? See, I think that looks lovely. It reminds me, what's the things that, like on the shoulders, like the soldiers, not the soldiers, like the ones that wear red at Buckingham Palace. You think I'd know, wouldn't you, being a Londoner? The bits on the shoulders. There's probably a name for it. I think I know, but I don't want to say the wrong words because it doesn't sound right. But that's, to me, that's what that looks like. Real sort of lace type look, doesn't it? Okay, so let's have a look at these. Let's have a sneaky peek at these plates that we've got coming up with Barb on the Pergamano show. So we have 3 plates which give us our PTC size. Okay, let's have a look. Thank you, Jilly. Epaulets. Epaulets, there we go. Yep, everyone's coming with that. So I wasn't sure, but there you go. Right, let's have a look at these designs. Thank you, ladies. Much appreciated. So let's zoom in a little bit now. So this is plate number 1. And on this one, you've got 2 ATCs or PTCs. Trace them out exactly as they come. And as Josie said, 3.5 by 2.5. Perfect. Now, what you've also got on this plate is the designed by. So this is where you could pop it on the back of your PTC, or PTC is just parchment trading card. Generally, they would be called artist trading cards. So you may be more familiar with the word artist trading card, ATCs. But because they're parchment, we called them parchment trading cards. Okay, so you've got the 2 rectangle panels on this one, which says designed by. Then we have another one that says, if I try and get them side by side, you can see you've got made with love by. So it's all about the personalization as well. And there's a reason why the personalization space is there, which we'll come to. Then we have the next one, which is the handmade by. See, I love this little bit. There's so many different elements on some people. Oh yeah, I like that one. Oh, I like that one. Then let's pop those. So that's the 3 what we're calling parchment trading cards, because they are the standard 3.5 by 2.5 inches, and you've got 2 on each one, but they all mix and match. And look, lovely little butterflies. Okay, then we have our parchment trading coins, and these are 3.5 inches, as Josie said. So you can see all of these can be used how they were designed, or they can be toppers on little cards. Really, really beautiful as little toppers. And then the third one in the collection is this beautiful floral frame and this exquisite little alphabet. Now, just to put that into context on the size, if I take the cap of the pen, you can see. So what you can do, where you've got made with love by, you can personalize it. You've got your uppercase and lowercase, you've got your ordinals, you've got your numbers. Beautiful little alphabet. And then elements from the plates that Josie's designed, what Jim did was he created this beautiful frame. Okay, so let me show you a couple of little bits of artwork. I say for you, look, abundance of artwork. Okay, so we've got some coins. Look at that. And that one was by Chris Walker. She created that piece. Then the and they're actually the Pico circles. This one is Amanda Williams. Then we've got another one here. Let's have a look. Look, that's nice. Josie Davidson. We also had the little PTC or ATC stamps available as well. With the card, we're just sorting that out now, and the little bags to pop them in. So this is Josie, December 2019. Then if you want it as a topper, you can go big. So this one is handmade by Chris Walker. But look at that, just on the back. Okay, I like this one. Another one by Josie Davidson. Designer papers in the background. And then we have this one here. And, oh, there's no name on that one. Didn't want to claim their art. I love this one. This one's from the lovely Linda Page. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Just as a topper on your card. Okay. I'm not going to show them all because it will spoil the surprise for tuning in on... Oh, this is nice. Look. Just do it as a tag. With love. Who did this one? I think I might have done that one. Yeah, really nice. So we have the stamp, if you wanted to do that. And then we have the bag. So there'll be 50 of the bags, 50 pieces of cards, and the stamp available as a bundle. We're just sorting that out on the website. So don't purchase that just yet because we're just about to change the configuration. But these little bags, you get 50 in a pack with the card, with the stamp if you choose to, or they will be available separately as well. So that's a little bit of a showcase of what's coming up with Barb on Thursday at 11 and 3. And when you see what she's looking at, various different samples and just breaking it down, doing some white work, how to attach it, so go into more depth on how to attach the pieces, how you can use them as a larger card as well as a PTC as well. So Nancy wants to make all of that. They're so quick to do, Nancy. They really are, because they're little bite-sized pieces of artwork. They're great for advanced parchers and beginners as well. So that's why we thought this would be a perfect set of plates. I say we. Barb thought that this would be a perfect set of plates to showcase on the Pergamano show. So thank you very much for joining me. Next week, I'll be here on Tuesday after the bank holiday. And we'll be going through and carrying on with this lovely bookmark. Okay. And then Barb's on Thursday at 11 and 3. I'm on Craft Extra at 1 o'clock with some beautiful dies. And then I will see you all on Tuesday. So enjoy your Easter, whatever you're up to. Hope you can join us on Create and Craft. Otherwise, I will see you on the other side. Take care now. Thank you to Gilly. Thank you to the design team. And thank you all for watching. Take care now. Bye-bye.